Morning to you in what is the darkness of Pretoria. What is the overnight developments, if any?
Good morning to you, Gareth. Well, South Africans are waking up to the news that Mr. Mandela is spending his 18th day in hospital now, being treated here at the Pretoria Heart Hospital for that recurring lung infection. Just to recap for you, Gareth, that he was admitted here on the 8th of June in the early hours of that morning. Mr. Mandela, as we know, has been in and out of hospital for the past year now for that lung infection. And the latest developments over the weekend from President Jacob Zuma was that Mr. Mandela's condition had worsened and doctors were telling him he was now critically ill. So a great deal of concern and jitters in South Africa, and those watching these developments very, very closely. As you said, this is a man who is very much adored and admired around the world. The leader of the South African, new South Africa, in fact, someone who fought for the liberation of South Africans and paid dearly for that and spending many years in prison. So it goes without saying that many people would be concerned, and that's been the case over the past few days as we wait for developments or any news as to how he's doing here in hospital. So the latest and the official word is that Mr. Mandela is still critical. Newspapers from around the globe and other news publications covering the story extensively, keeping a close watch on developments. Gareth, let me just tell you what's in the local publications this morning. I'll start with the Sowetan. If you can see that picture there, Mandela's call for an urgent imbizo. That is a picture of the daughter of the president, Makaziwe Mandela. According to reports in the Sowetan this morning, she has called the Mandelas and other close relatives in Qunu to have a meeting to discuss sensitive family matters, is how it's being described here. And that's how she's being quoted, to call a meeting of Ibunga, or the tribal council as it were. And as you know, as the Mandela elder, Nelson Mandela is the head of that Bunga of the Mandela. So they'll be discussing whatever sensitive and urgent family matters. So that's the lead in the Sowetan today. That's how they're covering the latest around Nelson Mandela. Let's take a look now at the Pretoria News front page picture of the place where we're standing right now, where people have come out in their numbers, Gareth, to put up messages of support and their love and wishing Madiba well. They've captured that in pictures, and the headline reading, "Madiba legacy will live on." And that was a message of reassurance coming from the National Planning Commissioner, Minister Trevor Manuel, reassuring the South African public and foreign investors that South Africa's economy would continue to thrive regardless of what happened to the icon Nelson Mandela. So that's in the Pretoria News this morning. The New Age taking a slightly different tack, let me tell you, running a story about Andrew Mlangeni's Langske. Now, Andrew Mlangeni is a longtime friend and Robben Island comrade of Nelson Mandela's. They served time together there in Robben Island, and now he apparently is being treated for a lung infection as well, or Langske, as the New Age is reporting, at a Cape Town hospital. So well wishes and prayers for him as well. Andrew Mlangeni, a very, very dear friend of Nelson Mandela. So that is the story dominating in the New Age today. Finally, at our look in the newspapers, The Star, this is their particular angle, Madiba Health Blackout, reporting that very little new information coming from President Jacob Zuma when he addressed a press briefing yesterday. So when he was asked by journalists gathered there whether Mr. Mandela was on life support, he said that he didn't know that, as he was not a doctor, and would not be able to give further details on that. And that was the press briefing which we ran on the eNews channel as well yesterday. All President Zuma would confirm was that what he had said on Sunday, essentially, and that the former president was in a critical condition. So that's the perspectives from the various major publications here in South Africa.
And Nikiwe, we'll leave it there for the moment. Nowhere for anybody else to go. We have the newspapers and Nikiwe Bikitsha following the situation for us outside the Mediclinic Hospital.
News that moves. eNCA.com.